everyone, this is just an impromptu video because I thought that I should do something for Autism Awareness Week and Autism Awareness Day. Autism Awareness Week runs from the 1st of April, which is tomorrow, Monday. I'm filming this on Sunday, right through until the 7th, and that's Autism Awareness Week, and World Autism Awareness Day is on the 2nd of April, which is on Tuesday. I will be, of course, releasing my usual videos on Wednesday, but I just thought I should do at least one video for this week. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to say, as I haven't actually written any notes, but I thought maybe I should just, obviously, it depends on who's watching this video, because obviously if you have autism, you will know what autism is through your own experiences and everything like that. If you don't know what autism is, then you might need a little bit of enlightenment, maybe. So I guess maybe we could ask the question, well, what is autism, really? Obviously, there's a generic definition of autism, which is that autism is a social communication disability that is lifelong. So you're born with it, and you have it until you die. And it also basically affects how you sort of perceive the world and interact with the world. That's kind of like the very generic definition, but obviously autism is so much more than that. It's a massive, massive thing. It's so broad. It affects everyone in so many different ways that I don't think you can really pin it down into one kind of box. Unfortunately, however, many people like to do that. They like to kind of narrowly categorise autism as this or that, when it's impossible really to do that. Autism is so hard to diagnose in the first place, hence why so many people don't go diagnosed for ages and get on, some people never get diagnosed at all or get misdiagnosed. So how on earth the uninitiated, someone who's not a professional in that area, can actually spot autism? You just can't. And yet so many people like to think they can, or that they come out with things such as oh, you don't look autistic, you must be very mild, which is absolutely nonsensical, because how can you possibly judge someone's the extent in which autism affects someone just going on surface appearances? Even clinicians have a hard time. Clinicians have to delve deep. They have to ask questions to kind of inform how the condition affects someone. And so really, it's really very important. I think one of the key messages I want to get across is that you cannot judge autism just based upon the surface appearance of an individual. You really have to get to know the person and find out what's going on in their life before you can make such a judgment call, really. And at the end of the day, it's really the individual themselves who gets to tell you how autism affects them. So it's important to listen to the individual and not to form any assumptions of yourself which are likely to be wide off the mark. We all have this tendency to do that. I think it's probably part of human nature to want to kind of categorise things and stereotype, because it makes the world easier to maybe categorise and to understand. But there is obviously a danger to doing that with human beings, because human beings are so complex. Autistic people are often told that we're black and white thinkers. The irony, of course, is that many non-autistic people are incredibly black and white when it comes to their analyses of autism. Yes, it does make me laugh, the irony of that. But autism is not black and white. Autism is incredibly complex. So how does autism affect me? As I say, I've given you your generic definition. How does it affect me? So I find social situations, social relationships very, very difficult to understand, very difficult to navigate. Because of this, I'm 31 now, but all through my life, I've basically never really had any meaningful friendships. Because I just find it very hard to kind of actually understand the whole concept of friendship and what relationships are and things like that. So I've never been in a relationship. I've never had, but even when it comes to friendships and things like that, I really struggle with that. And the friendships I've had in real time, that's to say, not on social media, because I've met some lovely people on social media. I find it a lot easier actually to sort of be friends with people online. But in terms of face-to-face type of friendships, I only have at the moment a maximum of 2, and I'm lucky in that I do at least have. There's one guy I've known for a very, very long time. He's a lot older than me. I find it easier in some sense to get on with older people. I don't know what that's about, but he's autistic anyway, and I've known him for a very, very long time, and he's a lot older than me. And the other one is a young woman who's a similar age to me, who I've known for a little while now. We don't meet that often though, that's the thing. So it can feel quite hard for me to, even though like I sort of feel, yeah, she, like when I'm with her I can kind of see that she is my friend, it's still quite hard for me to really understand what friendship is and to really kind of like get it. So there's that, this sense of being friendless even when maybe I do have friends in my life, because I don't really understand friendship and what it is and how do you even know who is a friend. I could kind of like academically say, intellectually say, yeah, this guy's my friend, but even then it still feels kind of like unreal. But that might also be because like I've gone through my life without any friends most of the time anyway, so it's hard for me to know. So there's that. The other thing, however, is that although I really struggle with friendships and relationships, and obviously this is a real social interaction problem that I've had all my life, when I was younger, my actual overt social behaviour was more obviously different, I suppose, because I didn't yet have any awareness. Obviously, I wasn't diagnosed with autism until comparatively 10 years ago now, just over 10 years. But I think if I was growing up now, I probably almost certainly would have been diagnosed a lot younger, because my behaviour as a child was quite eccentric, but it was kind of interpreted as other things, often along the lines of lacking confidence, shyness, or as the school said, primary school said, I was basically physically and emotionally immature or behaved like a little girl still when I was like about 10, and all of those things. But as I've grown older, of course, I have developed more understanding of surface social rules, mainly just through kind of like watching other people and imitating other people. So now, like, a member of the public might see me now and think, oh, what's her problem? Like, she could talk well, you know, she could comport herself relatively, like, that word normal's really loaded, but it's the word we use in society. I don't like it, but I'm using it in inverted commas. But they might think, you know, oh, she's behaving, like, typically. But that's because, of course, autism is not... autism is a developmental thing, and just like anyone else, an autistic person over time can kind of learn things, you know. Autism doesn't mean you can't learn things, but the way we learn it is obviously different to a non-autistic person. So yes, I've learned some basic social rules and very surface social skills, I guess you'd call them, growing up, but that doesn't make me any less autistic than what I was as a child. It just means I've learned how to kind of like, you know, fit in a bit better maybe, but that doesn't make life any easier, and I still find it just as hard as it is as a child to understand relationships, to understand friendships. I still really find it very hard to connect with people. That hasn't gone, and it's very disabling. And of course, autism isn't just the social side. What people often see is just the tip of the iceberg. Autism is a deep inner experience. It affects your whole perception of the world. It means that the world can often be very overwhelming and very stressful, 24/7 anxiety, sensory bombardments from things like noise and smells and all of this stuff, which affects an autistic person, you know, in different ways, obviously, because it's very individual, but this different way of experiencing the world. It's not just social. That's what people need to understand. So what they see, someone might be behaving, looking, oh, you know, because they've learned how to camouflage or whatever, that doesn't make them any less autistic. They need to really get to know the person and find out what's going on. As I say, I'd say I'm pretty profoundly affected by my autism, because it does really affect me in quite a significant way. But you know, I could come across, you know, less disabled than I actually experience myself to be. So, and at the end of the day, the final judgment call is with me, because I'm, you know, so when I tell someone it really affects me, they better listen, and if they then try and trivialise it, you know, how dare they? They haven't got any right to do that, because they're not in my shoes. So it is important to listen to the person. Autism affects the whole of your world. There's no such thing as being a little bit autistic. You either are autistic or you're not autistic. You can't judge autism. You know, you can't point a finger at someone and think, oh, and say definitively, oh, that person's autistic or that person's not. You know, like I say, people spend years trying to get diagnosed with this thing. So how a lay member of the public can do it, you know, just baffles me. You just can't. Autism's very complex. Autism, of course, is not all negative. I mean, obviously, I only know autism because it's what I've lived with. But autism, of course, can make you very intense. Everything's heightened. You often develop really strong, intense interests. You get really focused on things. You can enjoy things maybe at a deeper depth to another person. You really need routines. You really need order. You really need some sort of pattern in your life. This could, of course, make your life hell when that order and routine is dismantled, or someone gets in the way of it, or is disturbed. That can really make your life, like, really elevate your stress levels, like, significantly. Hence why I myself, and probably other autistic people too, are under a lot of stress all the time. But at the same time, it brings great enjoyment, probably more enjoyment than a person without autism. You know, I'm not saying people without autism don't experience enjoyment too, but it's just like the intensity that an autistic person experiences the world can make maybe appreciate certain things maybe more to a greater extent than a non-autistic person, just because they get so mono-focused on this one particular thing. Their attention is less dispersed over lots of different areas. A non-autistic person gets meaning from lots of different areas, which in a way kind of means that they're buffeted more against the stress of life, because if they can't do one thing, they can kind of flexibly move on to another thing. But at the same time, it means that they don't get to enjoy something in really extreme detail in a way that an autistic person can. So I think that's probably one of the positives of being autistic, is that you do get to really, really delve deep into things. So I guess I am fortunate that autism has blessed me with that. So it's not all negative. As I say, I do want to highlight autism is not all negative. It's a kind of multifaceted combination of positives and negatives that are going to vary from person to person. For me, nevertheless, autism is a disability because it does prevent me from working, it does prevent me from accessing society in many ways, but I don't see that as all negative. Like, yes, it is hard, life is hard, but again, life is hard for everyone. And I do think it's important to try and kind of like not just focus on the negatives. I try my hardest not to anyway, sometimes I do, but it depends what mood I'm in. But it is important to try and kind of like just make the best of what you have, because, you know, at the end of the day, like, you only have one life, and this is, you know, if you're born with, say, autism, there's not much you can do about that, so you have to focus on the positives as well, I think. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's enlightening you a little bit, and this is just my autism awareness video, so thank you for watching.